Going on YouTube? Happy Saturday, everybody. Hope you guys had a happy Thanksgiving. Welcome back. Federal Prison Time with RDAPdan. Hopefully everything's working. Audio, video, all that good stuff. And so we'll give everybody a couple seconds here to pop in and join us. But happy Saturday and happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I'm still full. So as you can see, today's video, we're talking about how competent is the average attorney. And there's kind of a huge reason why we're talking about this today. I get emails very, very often from so many of you that are going through the legal system right now. And the common thing that I hear from so many of you is you don't feel like your attorney is doing what's best for your interest. And a lot of times that just means because the attorney doesn't know certain things and is confused and giving you false information. I literally just got off the phone with a gentleman that's probably going to become a new client, and hopefully he'll join us here in the room. But his crime, he's looking at, for sure, camp points, going to a camp. Yet his attorney is possibly telling him that he's looking at a medium, and it's just off the chart. That's scary information. So a lot of times we assume that, well, maybe when the attorney said medium, maybe he was thinking minimum, maybe he just got his terms confused. So this client actually called his attorney and said, do you mean a camp or do you mean a low? And the attorney's like, no, I'm talking about a medium. So that right there is going to scare the you-know-what out of somebody that doesn't really know what to do. So luckily, this gentleman hasn't even been indicted yet. He's the target of an investigation right now. He's already gone and done his proffer. He's waiting possibly for pre-indictment plea. So he's reaching out at the right time because, as all of you know, we talk about this so often, the best time you can reach out to a consultant, whether it's me or anybody else, is prior to all of this happening. Once you've already been sentenced or you're days away from sentencing, you know, there's still things that can be done, but this is when the bulk of the work can be done to put you in the best possible situation for sentence reduction, possible probation, making sure you know what to do during your pre-sentence report interview to position you for the best possible chance to get into the residential drug addiction program, to receive additional halfway house time, placement of where you're going to land in the BOP, helping you out with designation. You've all seen the videos that we have with the software that can help you know which prison you should be wasting your recommendation on. There's so many things that you need to be taking advantage of, and the earlier to get started, the better. So to the person I just spoke to, kudos for reaching out well before you're already under the gun. Who do we got in the room? Giovanni, how are you doing? Christina Smith, thank you. Igor, what's going on, Igor? Igor is one of our happy clients from last week that was sentenced to probation, where he was looking at a lot of time at one point. So again, congratulations to Igor. Juan Carlos, another amazing client of ours who likes to talk a lot of crap on Facebook, but we still love you, Juan Carlos. Scott, what's going on, Scott? Kevin, these are all, you guys are all been regulars, man. You've all been with us for a very long time, so I appreciate the love and the support. So talking about attorneys. So I found a really interesting, let me get my mouse over here. I've got too many things going on. So I posted it in the room. So I found this, there's an attorney by the name of Richard Jensen. He's a criminal defense attorney. And he actually posted a blog of him having lunch with an attorney, with a judge. And the whole purpose for this lunch was the judge was concerned that so many criminal defense attorneys are completely incompetent. So when the judge asked him, and you can read it, I posted it's in the description of this video, and I also just posted it in the comments. Take a look at this later on and read this article because it's very insightful to those of you that are getting ready to go through this, that feel like your attorney is 100% on the ball. Now, I'm not saying all attorneys are incompetent. That would be a horrible statement to make, but from all the conversations I have with most of you guys, it has come to my realization that most of these attorneys are incompetent to at least a certain level. There's information that they should have. Kevin just caught me off guard. He said, "Hey Dan, Justin Perperni is following your lead lately." Elaborate a little bit on what you're referring to, Kevin, but that's good because that's what we want people to do. Hopefully he's charging less and doing better services. That's all we ask. Oh my God, there's a stream that you guys got to hear. I'll try to post it here. I think I got it right here. So you guys all know the interview that I was on a couple weeks ago with John Odemeyer, or not Odemeyer, John Odermatt from Liberty, the Lions of Liberty. He just interviewed Larry Levine, and about the last 15 minutes of the interview, Larry Levine just went off on Justin Paperny, just made all kinds of statements. So there's that. I just posted. You guys, take a look at it. It's insane. But so back to what we were talking about. So this attorney by the name of Richard Jensen, he's a criminal defense attorney. He had lunch with a judge, and the judge was very concerned about attorneys and what they're doing for their clients and the possible of how incompetent they are and how this can affect a client's outcome at sentencing. So he made this, the judge asked the attorney, what level of attorneys do you feel are competent? Not incompetent. What level of attorneys do you feel are competent? And the attorney said, well, maybe 30%. And the judge said, I think it's more like 20%. And then Richard Jensen, criminal defense attorney, made the statement, goes, well, you know, I was going to say that, but I didn't want to make it sound like nobody knows what they're doing. So we're talking about, through a judge's eyes and what he sees on a regular basis, feels that 80% of criminal defense attorneys are incompetent and lazy. Those were his exact words that Richard Jensen posted in this blog. So I want you guys to go read this, because this is why people like me have the ability to have a career in what we're doing, because we all know this. Like, we've gone through it. We've been there. We've done that. And especially somebody in my situation and other prison consultants in their situations, they hear the stories every day of attorneys not returning phone calls, not giving them proper information, giving them misinformation, not knowing information about the residential drug addiction program, not showing up at the pre-sentence investigation, not being there during that, giving them misinformation about what type of prison they're going to go to, or giving them just no information about what to expect. It seems like the attorneys focus on getting you a plea, and then they're done. They stop. They don't want to go to trial. We see that all the time. Attorneys do not want to go to trial. They'll tell you things, they'll scare you potentially, and push you into taking a plea because that's in the best interest of everybody. And yes, in a lot of cases, if you do go to trial, you're looking at a whole lot more time. So in most people's situations that I know, including my own, taking a plea was definitely ultimately my choice, because I was afraid to go to trial with the amount of time that I was potentially looking at. 15, 20-year potential sentence versus a cap of 60 months is pretty scary. What is Juan in here? What is Juan saying? We got to read Juan's comments. Justin wears makeup too. Yeah, Juan Carlos. It's got jokes. It's got jokes. I'm not wearing makeup today, though. This is just natural beauty. With the new lighting system, it doesn't require, in a better camera, it doesn't require as much makeup, Juan. But we are going to be doing some really fun things. We're actually going to be taking, we're going to start doing this next week or the week after. We're going to be selecting people that have been out of prison for a while, that are borderline homeless and have pretty much given up on life, looks, acts, everything. And we're going to see if we can't reintegrate them back into society. So we're going to be taking these people. We're going to blog the entire, we're going to video blog or vlog, whatever you want to call it, the entire process of getting them a makeover, taking them in, getting their hair cut and beard trimmed, taking them shopping, getting them some proper clothes to go on interviews, taking them to a resource center that's free to help them with getting their resumes ready. And then we're going to take them on job interviews and stay with them until they get a job, and follow them through their job and see if they're able to maintain and see what they can do, because we hear about so often that it's impossible for ex-felons to get jobs. So we want to see, is it really impossible, or is it a combination of it's tough and a combination of not wanting to follow through? So we're going to see if we can bridge that gap a little bit and start to help people get back into the workforce that have skills that have just given up on life. So make sure you stay tuned, you check that out. But we really want to promote our services today. I really want you guys to think hard and serious. What is it that you're ultimately trying to get with your defense attorney that you're going through right now? What is your ultimate want? Now, we all know we want probation, right? We all want probation, and we just want the feds to forget about us and pretend like it doesn't exist. But what are we willing to work hard on? What are we willing to do? What questions are you asking your attorney? I posted some information on Avo today. Avo is a website, in case you guys don't know, AVVO, of where the attorneys and people like you guys that are looking for legal defense, you'll go post questions, hear responses from attorneys, and then make a determination whether or not somebody you might consider hiring. So I posted some information on Avo today, basically asking, why do attorneys seem to be lacking so much knowledge when it comes to preparing for actual federal prison beyond the plea agreement? How come they don't know information about RDAP? How come they're not taking more of a serious stand on helping you with your personal narrative and your character reference letters? How come they're not advocating for you to be out there in the community doing community service, going to AA and NA, to have this opportunity to stand in front of the judge and make a difference? How come they're not focusing on this? How come they don't focus on what needs to really take place the day of your pre-sentence investigation to make sure you have the best possible report? How come attorneys aren't telling you to put your personal narrative into your pre-sentence report? Why are they not doing these things? Is it because they want to sabotage you and they want to see you go to prison? I don't really think that's the answer, but I do think it's a lack of understanding of what really needs to happen. I think a lot of attorneys forgot why they wanted to become attorneys. When we're little kids and we talk about being doctors, we talk about being attorneys, we want to do that because it sounds amazing to save a life. It sounds amazing to be able to help somebody. And at some point throughout that journey to becoming a doctor or becoming an attorney, it seems like the purpose is lost and why we're doing what we're doing. And now it just becomes, how many people can I take on my firm or on my caseload and have enough time to give them 10, 15 minutes a week or a month, but do the bare minimum to get by with not getting myself in any legal trouble. But what happens is what cost are they doing this? So we're seeing so many people getting swept under the rug. And unfortunately, these people do not know how swept they really are until they get to prison and they start learning what they could have done differently and what they wish they would have done. So yes, it's shame on you for not taking more of initiative, but it's definitely shame on these attorneys, because these attorneys really do make you feel like you don't need to hire a prison consultant. They'll almost tell you, no, they're all scams, they're all crooks, these are all ex-cons that have found a new way to rip people off. That's true in a lot of cases, don't get me wrong. There's plenty of prison consultants out there that are just ripping people off to no end. And they're not even, look, there's one thing to overcharge somebody, but at least over-deliver. If you're going to overprice me, over-deliver me. Give me above and beyond services, but don't give me these rink-a-dink services where you're going to tell me how to lie to get into RDAP, where you're going to tell me to show up to prison drunk and high, where you're going to tell me personal narratives, character reference letters, community service don't make a difference. There's, oh, don't worry about your PSR report, you don't need to include a person. Why would you tell somebody that if wholeheartedly you know the opposite to be true? If we know for a fact that personal narratives, character reference letters, hard work with community service, preparing for the PSR interview, if we know for a fact that it can make a difference, because we've all seen it now, we've got clients in this room right now. Igor is living proof of what can happen. Igor is a client that received probation. And it's not because he sat around and just listened to his attorney. Not to say his attorney gave him horrible advice, but he realized there was a gap there where the attorney was not fulfilling additional information that was needed. This is where we come up. This is where we perform and assist with what your attorney is doing on their side. We pick up the slack of where the attorney is not focused and not educated, to be quite honest, where the attorney doesn't have education and what they can be doing to assist you. That's why if you're in, I get this call all the time too. I've been watching your video for months, been wanting to call you, and I for some reason just haven't done it, been hesitant, scared, didn't know what you were going to say, didn't know if you were real, didn't even know if you're really going to answer your phone, whatever it may be. I get these calls where people are like, I'm finally reaching out to you. And sometimes it's too late. So if you're one of those few and you feel like right now that I'm talking to you, because that's the other thing I hear is I felt like you were talking to me when you said to pick up the phone and call. I am. I'm talking to you, the person that's sitting there right now, not knowing exactly what to do, dealing with anxiety, not sleeping at night, not getting straight answers from your attorney, just feeling like there's a giant void in the information that you're seeking, to where it feels like you don't feel like no matter how many times you talk to your attorney, you hang up the phone with that same feeling as, fuck, I still did not get the information I was looking for. I'm talking to that person, and I'm telling you, do the right thing. Pick up your telephone. My phone number is listed on this screen. It's listed in the description. Text me, call me, 509-434-4695, because it could make the difference of years off of a potential sentence. All you need to do is pick up the phone and call. It's really that simple. Call now. Tomorrow, what's going on? And they told own issues. Oh, wait, let me read what she wrote back there. And they told me not to bother doing those things that you highly recommend. So tomorrow, let me see if tomorrow's got some more up here. So Tamara is the mother of an inmate. Her son Ian is in federal prison, and basically what she's talking about right now is she's telling us that attorneys told her not to worry about all of the stuff that we just focused on: narratives, character reference letters, community service, doing all these additional things above and beyond. They may not make a difference. We all know that ultimately it's up to the judge, but isn't it better to properly prepare that if you are going to have a chance for the judge to see you differently than he sees 99% of other people that walk in his courtroom, don't you want to have that ability to present that properly? That's what we're going to do, is help you on that pathway, that roadmap to success, because that's our whole focus, is to see you succeed. He had his own issues with the law, gambling, and paid females. Scott Addick. Justin Perperny is my second favorite consultant after RDAPdan. Well, at least he's your second favorite, not your first favorite. I used to have a lot of correspondence with Justin, and we just don't see on the same page anymore. And unfortunately, I've heard some horror stories. I can't verify any of them to be true or not, but I've heard some horror stories from people some people, his own family, that have said some statements. And if you watch the interview with Larry Levine sound very convincing with the statements that he made Justin Perperny, and I posted that in the comments here earlier up. Larry Levine was on Lions of Liberty, and Lions of Liberty's podcast and website is in the description of my video. You can look at the interview with Larry Levine, and it's towards the end of the interview. It's like an hour and 20-minute interview, but about the last 15 to 18 minutes of the interview, there's a big portion that Larry is talking about Justin on there, and just the stuff that he was saying on there was like, wow, not holding any punches. So if that stuff is true, people just need to know. People need to know what they're dealing with. And, we get clients, we had a client that hired us, and he said that he doesn't know if he's going to be deported or not. And we asked him, well, can we see your pre-sentence report? On his pre-sentence report, there's no holds. There was nothing on there stating he was going to be deported after finishing his sentence. He wanted us to try to help him get redesignated and potentially get into RDAP. And we did all these services for him. Come to find out, once he gets to prison, an ICE hold was put on him. And he was upset at me that I should have known this when his attorney didn't know it. It wasn't disclosed anywhere. He didn't know it until it was too late. And I understand that some things just aren't going to work out to your favor. But you got to take responsibility, and you got to realize that information is only good as the source we're getting it from. So if the investigator who's doing his information isn't updating the pre-sentence report properly, that's where we're getting a lot of this information, that we're telling you what we might be able to do. So if there's misinformed information in your paperwork, it's going to misinform and misguide everybody, including you. So you need to know ahead of time what you're stepping into, guys. And the best thing you can do is your homework, your research. Reach out to prison consultants. Ask your attorney a million questions. Don't let your attorney off the phone. Drill them. Because if you're making your attorney uncomfortable, chances are you're making them a better attorney for you and for everybody else that they're potentially going to represent. Whether it's a paid counsel from the government or it's a high-paid attorney out of your pocket, you shouldn't really worry about, well, the government's paying for this attorney, what can I really expect? You expect that this attorney has your interest at heart. There's certain things that you want to make sure an attorney is looking for, and he's not just throwing up his hands. If you're admitting guilt right out the gate, that doesn't necessarily mean that the attorney should go, oh, guilty. We got to go work for a plea. You know, the attorney needs to make sure your rights weren't violated. I mean, you have civil rights, and if they were violated in any way, these are grounds that the attorney needs to make arguments on. We see it happen all the time to where attorneys are looking for a reason to just go, no, there's nothing we can do. Or attorneys like the gentleman I spoke to just a few minutes ago on the phone, one of his concerns is the attorney is making it sound way worse than it really is to be able to charge him additional money, and in the same token, make it sound way worse than it is. So if he gets him a fair deal as far as a plea goes, it makes the attorney look like a superstar. So let's say I knew, okay, I've seen this case a million times. You're probably going to get 40 months, 60 months. I'm going to make it sound like you're looking at a ridiculous amount of time. That way, if I get you 60 months or 40 months, I look like a rock star, and it's able to justify me charging you an additional, $20, $30, $40, $50,000. And that's what the gentleman I just spoke to is in fear of right now, because he just senses something off with his attorney. And that's got to be a really shitty feeling, because your life is in somebody's hands, so to speak, right? You're going to be going to prison or not going to prison, but your life is being balanced with the feds, with the prosecutor, with your attorney, with all of these different people that you're trusting that are going to do their job to the fullest. You need to have exponential ways of holding people accountable for what it is that they're supposed to be doing. And the only way you can do that is to learn it yourself and to be engaged, to be involved. Nobody should be more interested in what's going on in your case than you. Nobody should work harder than you. So what we tell our clients is when you become a client of ours, this isn't the time where you're just going to go, I can relax, RDAPdan's on the case. Nope, RDAPdan is going to turn you into a working machine. We're going to come up with plans, and it's up to you to follow them. If you follow them, success may be waiting for you on the horizon. If you just sit around and cry about it and dwell about it, and you allow that negativity to stop you from moving forward, the results that you're producing are going to be the effort you're putting into them. That's how this works. You got to visualize. You got to manifest what you want to happen. You got to see yourself getting probation. You got to believe it's going to happen. Shoot for the stars, land on the moon, or shoot for the moon, land on the stars, whatever that saying goes. You got to aim as high as possible, and then whatever happens is going to happen. But you don't want to be laying in that bunk one night going, I wish I had done more, because that is a frustrating feeling, knowing there's things you could have done that you didn't do, because then the only person you can ultimately blame is yourself. So get up, get out there, and start fighting for your life, because it is your life. No matter how much time or how little time, it is your life. So Kevin learned something today. Kevin says, FYI, I learned something new today. FCI Millen, Michigan Low is the only federal prison left that offers high school diploma classes. They also do RDAP as well. FCI. I'm wondering if that's the only low prison in Michigan, because I know for a fact Coleman Low, I got a client right now that's in GED classes. I've also got another client at a low in Texas that's in GED classes. So I know there are other lows that do offer GED, and RDAP is also at the low. So Coleman Low offers RDAP, and they offer GED classes. So I know that they are in other places. I'd be curious on what you read, Kevin, if you want to send me that link or even post a link in this room for everybody else to read. But there's a lot of information floating around out there, but that's interesting to hear, Kevin. I'd like to do a little more research on that. Tamara said, I asked directly, and he said there's nothing you can do to improve your outcome. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate that that this information we get from our attorneys who we're trusting our lives with, who we paid money to, thinking are going to ride in on these giant white horses and slay the government and do what we need them to do, because that's kind of the sales pitch they give us. And ultimately, that's not what happens. It's a bleak outcome with these attorneys in a lot of situations. And to read this attorney having lunch with a judge, where the judge is clearly saying he believes that 80% of attorneys are incompetent and lazy. It's a scary statement to hear. And what's more scary is, how is this allowed? It must just be because it's become common law practice that because most attorneys are lazy, that what are they going to do? Get rid of all attorneys? Then what? Now you've got no attorneys. Could you imagine if everybody in the federal system said, fuck it, I'm going to trial? Could you imagine what a bottleneck effect that would create in the federal system? How backed up that would just throw everything in turmoil. That would flip things on its back to where it would force prosecutors to probably start working out better plea deals, because they know 90% of all cases end in a plea deal. They have that upper hand to go, well, this is your plea deal, take it or leave it. If not, we'll go to trial. You're my one client a year that's going to go to trial. Sure, we've got extra time. Why not go to trial? I'll skip one golf game and take you to trial and hand your ass to you at trial. If every one of their cases were going to trial, you would see harder working attorneys. You would see better plea, just like anything. If we all refuse to pay gas for one day worldwide, we're like, yeah, I'm not putting any gas in my car. We would be able to turn over the demand, supply and demand, and make it to more our favor. But because we're not one voice, and because we're not actually united, and because we're only concerned about ourselves, and we're living this little bubble where we're focused on just our own situation, because we don't think of everybody when we think of ourselves, we end up getting royally screwed in the end, because that's the product of environment that we live in. And it's our own fault. We're selfish, we're self-centered, we're egotistical. We think, oh, poor me, my life matters more than everybody else's. Why am I going to prison? How come this guy is not, it's like we're not focused. We're not focused as a whole and as a community. And that's why our motto is community as method, because by sharing this information with more and more people, it's bringing us more and more aware, and it's awakening us to the actuality of what's going to happen if we just lay down and go through the motions. That's why attorneys are so quick to say, no, nothing matters, because they're so used to doing nothing that they haven't seen somebody do something in such a long time that that's all they're accustomed to seeing is people just walking in like robots on a conveyor belt, one after another. Next. Do not be a victim, guys. Be the person that makes a difference in your life, because that is going to make a difference in somebody else's life. When you guys, I heard so many of you talk about when I saw your story with Todd and what a difference it made with Todd and all the efforts he'd done. That's what made me get motivated. Once we see one person achieve something that we didn't know was achievable, now we all feel like we can achieve it. And now we're all going to shoot for that ultimate goal. And then when somebody gets even a higher goal, now we're going to shoot for that goal. We're going to go, what did that person do? If I told you guys, if I said, I guarantee for X amount of money, I could get you probation, you guys would be throwing money down like it's left and right, no matter what the fee was. I could say 10 grand, guaranteed probation, boom. I don't care if you're flat broke, you find a way to get it, right? Because probation. But you guys are hesitant. You're like, oh, I don't want to spend $1,500 because what if? Man, you can't afford not to invest in your own situation for a better possibility of an outcome. Granted, no guarantees, but the opportunity exists, the percentage is there, it can happen, and it's not unheard of. We're seeing it more and more just with my own clients. So I imagine other guys that are putting in this type of work for their clients are seeing similar results. Simple as that. There you go. Tamara said it best. Don't roll over and play dead for the attorney. Let the attorney play dead and you kick his ass back to life. Well, that's about all we got time for today. This video is about 30 minutes, and as you guys know, we're trying to keep these videos around 30 minutes now, unless we've got something really cool to talk about or we got somebody coming on. Tomorrow should be coming on in the next couple of weeks, so let me know tomorrow. Shoot me a text when you got some free time, and we'll get that up and going. Other than that, guys, I hope you guys all had an amazing Thanksgiving. I posted all kinds of fun videos of my Thanksgiving and videos on my Facebook, so if you want to check over to rdapdan on my Facebook, I've got videos of Thanksgiving. I've got videos of Shelly cooking stuff, just, trying to give you guys a little. Did you guys like the video I did on Wednesday, day before Christmas, behind the scenes? I was too lazy to prepare and make a video, so I just walked around with my camera showing you guys what we were doing to get ready for Thanksgiving. So we're going to start doing some more fun things here. We've got some big plans going into next year, huge stuff that you guys will all be a part of, and some of the stuff is going to start here in the next couple weeks with some out and about footage, some interviews, some documentaries that we're going to be creating. So we are going to be busting ass for you all to make your guys' journey a little bit easier. All right, guys, have a fantastic weekend. Hope you guys didn't blow all your money on Black Friday. You still got Cyber Monday coming up. Monday is my birthday, so I expect you all to be here. We are going to be doing a video on Monday. It is my birthday. I'm turning the big 39. Got one more year before the big 40. So I'm going to be 39 Monday. I will be here with you guys to celebrate my birthday. All right, guys, have a fantastic weekend. I love every single one of you. Remember, one day at a time, people helping people, community is method. Peace out, guys. Love everybody. See ya Monday.